So, Mr. Ambassador, on the first part, we gave an overview of the bilateral relations. Now let's focus on the economic ones. One of your main goals is to encourage economic relations between Singapore and Spain. So, what message would you give to the Singaporean companies to consider Spain as a potential investment hub?
I think that Spain is a very important international hub for investments, and we are one of the countries that receive more investments from other countries, and we also are big investors because we are also investing, for instance, a lot in Latin America. I think we have a perfect business climate. We have a predictable legal system. Our life conditions are very good, and I think they are very attractive too. I mean, we are very well known for our tourist attractions, but not because people like to go and go away. People like to go to Spain and come back. So it's our tourists come always back in very high percentage, almost 80% of people, which means that our quality of life is very high. And I think expats living in Spain enjoy really not just, as I told you before, a very good business climate, but also a very good social, cultural, and in general friendly atmosphere. And I think this is one of the huge advantages. Besides that, we are in very well positioned in Europe. We are open, of course, to Latin America, as I said before, and also to the northern part of Africa. So people coming to Spain can use our connections, I mean the business connections, to all these areas, to use Spain as a hub for their businesses.
Yes, I think you gave us great key factors to think about and to consider Spain as such an interesting country. Within the Spanish economy, which sectors do you consider that are of greater interest for the Singaporean companies to invest in, or maybe to start doing business in that sector?
Well, there are many, but for instance, I would like to just to mention, for instance, the health sector. We are very strong on that. The agri-food sector, we are very strong also in agri-tech and food tech. Renewable energies, I think we are also, as I said before, very strong in this area, and technology in general. And I think we, just to mention some sectors, but I think Spain is very much advanced in deep tech too. We have a very important amount of startups and scale-ups in Spain. And the good news for foreigners coming to Spain is that they don't have to concentrate in one city like it happens in other countries in Europe. They can choose between Madrid and Barcelona and other smaller cities, because the competition between our two biggest cities is very healthy for our economic system. And I think one of the advantages of Spain too is that we are very decentralized. So you can choose any city in Spain and they will offer the investors very good conditions for their businesses.
Yes, I think Mr. Ambassador, you gave us different sectors that may not be so well known for Singaporeans that Spain is really strong in to consider. And the last question regarding investment, are there any key future investment plans or projects that are forecasted in Spain for the next years?
Yeah, as I also mentioned before, we have this plan for the recovery and resilience of Spain, which is a huge project and funded also with European money, and that offers a lot of opportunities. And then we have this 10 sectorial projects called the Pt.II, in where they can find in any sector a lot of possibilities. For instance, we have electric vehicle, as I said before, agri-food, tech food, and or renewable energies, or production and storage of green hydrogen. So I think the map of this Pt.II is quite comprehensive, and in any of the top areas of technology, they can find one of these projects, these plans to go along with.
Great. So we have talked about investment in Spain for Singaporean companies.
Yes.
Now let's jump into encouraging Spanish companies to go and come to Singapore. So why would you encourage Spanish companies to internationalize in Singapore?
Well, I think we come from a culture of not being able to understand well Asia. I think that the Spanish companies have a lot to do still in this area. For me, according to my experience, the best starting point to conquer Asia can be Singapore. Singapore offers a very safe, predictable business climate. It's a safe city, of course, a very healthy city, and that is why chosen as the business hub for many foreign companies, not just European, also Americans, and even from other Asian countries. You have here joint ventures, family offices, and in general, it's used as a headquarters for the rest of the Asian markets, even to Australia and New Zealand. So I think it's the best choice for Spanish companies if they want to find out why the Asian market is so attractive, and something that still we have to learn a little. Some companies in Spain.
And to conclude this interview, which sectors in Singapore do you think have greater opportunities for Spanish companies?
Well, I think we are very complementary in general. So the same sectors I mentioned before could be also interesting for the Spanish companies here. So I'm speaking about, again, agri-food, deep tech, digitalization, for instance, they're very strong on that, and even production. I think one of the characteristics of the Spanish investment here is that we don't produce here as much as other European countries do. So it will be also interesting for the Spanish companies to consider Singapore as an industry hub, not just financial and technological, and of course transport hub, but also the possibility of settling here a factory or a production point.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador, and I think now that both Spanish and Singaporean companies can understand better each other's climates. So thank you very much for coming to the Spanish Sling, and for being such a great guest. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thank you, and congratulations for this initiative. I think it's a very good initiative. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And see you next time in the Spanish Sling.